Alright, in this brief clip we're going to look at how you might add assignments to Dreambox, and these are teacher-created assignments, not those that the system automatically creates based on the student's performance. And to do this, there's a few different ways. We're going to look at coming to the very top from our dashboard here, where we see Add Assignment. Now from here you really have a couple different ways. The three main ways by which to add an assignment are by looking at the way it's organized, either by Dreambox units, California State Standards, and or the print environment, and in our district's case it is Go Math. And then you could also look at in terms of how long you want the assignment to be. So there's two types. There's short-term and long-term assignments. The short-term assignments maximum is 2 weeks, and the long-term is up to 10 weeks. So let's just say in this example we'll look at a short-term assignment. I want it to be for 2 weeks, so from the drop-down here I'm going to go ahead and select 2 weeks. So I've selected 2 weeks from the drop-down because that's my goal. And then I'm going to go ahead and select what do I want to look at. Again, am I looking by the Dreambox units, the California State Standards, or am I looking through the curriculum? If we went to the curriculum route, you'd select your grade from the drop-down. For the purpose of the example, we'll select grade 3, and then once you selected your grade under Go Math, you can go ahead and select whatever chapter you might be working on. Now if you didn't want to go that route, instead you want to look at standards, go in that route. Again, select your grade level. In this example, we'll click grade 4. When it says search for my domain, those are our overarching clusters or big groups of standards, and we're going to go ahead and select one. So let's say if I was looking at fractions, and then from there we can select and drill down even further. So again, we can go by curriculum, by standards, and last one here is by, again, the Dreambox unit. So I'm going to go ahead and select Dreambox units. I'm going to select a different grade level in this one. We'll say grade 5. And then for my category, I'm going to look at what are the areas that I want it to be under. Let's say, for example, multiplication, something that a lot of students still need additional support with. And I'm going to select from the group, what is it do I want my students to work on with regards to multiplication. So let's say, for example, I wanted multiplication to 100,000, and now it generates the assignment. From this point, I do want to point out, it doesn't matter whether you selected Dreambox, California State Standards, or the Go Math curriculum, you're looking at three main areas here. And those areas are your kiddos who have not yet started, your kiddos who have done some assignments, maybe based on what they've progressed on their own independent work, they've already gotten some assignments that fall into this category, and maybe students that have already progressed beyond this. So even though I might be looking at, for example, a class of 5th grade students, some of my students may be operating not quite at that level, and some of them may be already exceeding that level. By default, it's only going to put the check boxes next to all of those that are in these two categories, whether they're not started or whether they're in progress. If you have some students that may have already have shown proficiency in that, they will not be checked off by default. Now you can always click right up here and it will automatically or individually check off those names. So even if students have shown proficiency on their own, you could still give them whatever assignment you may want here. Now if you wanted to preview at any point, what did this look like to ensure this is actually what I want to give my students, you can preview the lessons here. What would it look like for the students that just started? What would it look like for those that are already in progress? And what would it look like for the students that fall under this category? It's a review for them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the middle option here. And it's just going to launch a window, and it allows you to progress. So this is just going to allow you to progress through as if you were a student.
6,000 by entering a product in the equation.
I'm going to go ahead and close this. And then I want to show you one bonus way by which you can assign things. In our district, we are using the SMAP or the NWEA assessments. And while it defaulted right here by topic or standard, the additional way is by looking at the NWEA score. So I'm going to go ahead and select that at this moment. And it should bring you to a screen that looks like this, where you have all of your students, and then you have really two things you're needing to select. First, it should automatically go to the correct growth test that your students taken. If it were K2, most likely it'd be the K2 environment, or if it were up to elementary, up to 2.5, and if it's anything beyond 6th and up, then it'd be the 6+. But you're going to, again, make sure that it is defaulted to the correct test. And we're looking at two sections. One, the domain. So let's say, for example, I'd like for my students to be able to focus on numbers and operations. And once you've selected the domain, you're going to, from the drop-down, select what was the individual student's RIT score. So again, for the most part, you're looking at two things. In this example, we'll just say my student scored right in here, and it will automatically generate for them assignments. Now, you do need to click that last button down below where it says Add Assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And you could do this for your entire class, or you could do it for only a few individual students. And that's it. The assignment has now been created for my individual student based on how they performed on the NWEA in this example. Once more, how did you go through that process? You should always, by looking at the top right, find where it says Add Assignment. And from there, you really have your primary default way, which is here, by again those three that we mentioned earlier. And if you wanted to go back to the NWEA that we had just done, you have to come up here on the top left and select, as opposed to topic or standard, the NWEA score. Ensure that it's looking at the correct growth test, the domain that you want to target for your student, and as well as their individual RIT score. And you can see right here, there's my logo to indicate that the student has already something created for them. If you have questions, let us know. Thanks so much.